You're listening to Turning a Page on Good Morning Delhi with Sarthak.
And what a lovely thing you're doing, because what we're trying to do is to try and make you fall in love with the written word, to see if we can make you taste the word and the ideas behind it. And talking of taste, Saif Mahmood is here. By profession, he's a lawyer, but by vocation, he is an incorrigible lover of words, especially the ones written in Urdu. And he's written a book about it as well. Beloved Delhi, a Mughal city and her greatest poets. It's absolutely incredible to have you in the studio, Saif Saab. I've been a fan of the book and the way that you have, literally showered love on the poets who need to be known, and our city that needs to be known for its poets, because there is poetry literally every 100 meters in Delhi, is there not?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me, Sarthak. There is poetry every 100 meters. There's poetry in every neighborhood of Delhi.
Yeah, absolutely.
Delhi is sprinkled with poetry, and it would have been a great travesty if there was no book in a language that the people of Delhi understand on this great cultural tradition of Delhi.
Bilkul. And everyone from Khalib to Zauq has made their love for Delhi known. I mean, kaun jaye Zauq par Delhi ki
galiyan chhodkar. Bilkul. And not just starting from Khalib, actually, it goes back to Sada and Mir.
Absolutely.
In the earlier century, Khalib was in the 19th. This goes back to the birth of Urdu in 1700s.
Absolutely. And if you don't know, Mirza Ibrahim Sada is one of the greats who should be known and who had made Delhi his home, so to speak. And this is what this book is about. It delineates the character of poetry in Delhi through the eyes of seven, right?
Eight poets.
Eight poets. And where did the thought come from, Saif Saab?
Well, the thought actually came. I used to write a blog for First City,
right,
on different poets of Delhi. And then somebody suggested that there are various, you see, the thing is that there are various books on Delhi,
right,
and on the poets of Delhi and the poetry of Delhi and that whole Mughal era, the twilight of the Delhi Empire. But all of them are either in Urdu,
right,
or in Hindi. There is no single book in Urdu, in English, which covers this entire era from the perspective of Urdu literature and poetry. And so therefore the problem is that people who are in love with Urdu poetry, and there are so many of us,
absolutely,
but have no access to the script, to the Persian script in which Urdu is written.
Yeah.
I think it's a great injustice to them.
Sure.
So I thought that this injustice should be remedied, and I decided to write this book.
And who was the first poet that you picked?
Sada.
Oh.
So my book starts with Sada, who was the first poet of what is called the great Delhi school of classical Urdu poetry. And then it goes on to Khwaja Mir Dard, and there is Mir Taqi Mir,
right,
all these in the 18th century. And in the next century jo thi, wo badi kamal ki thi. Because in the next century we had simultaneously in the same Mughal court, we had Zauq, we had Momin, we had Azurda, we had Shefta, we had Momin and Khud Mirza Asadullah Khan Khalib,
the man himself,
the great bard of Delhi.
Absolutely.
So it covers all these.
Excellent. And of course, titillation is central to keeping people hooked.
Absolutely.
So we're going to be talking about all of these. But I was thinking that आपका जो तखल्लुस जो है एकदम तलफ्फुज़ जो है उससे जो है थोड़ा लोगों को इंट्रोड्यूस किया जाए. So why not a little bit of a poetry from you?
Because we are talking about Delhi and this whole era where what was happening is, and then I'll recite a share on it.
Yeah.
So the context is very important. When the Mughal Empire was in spectacular decline on the one hand, but on the other hand, this place Delhi was playing host to another kind of empire, the empire of Urdu poetry.
Right.
Of course, there was Lucknow and there was the Deccan and there was Patna in those days, but because of the vicinity to the powers that be, poets wanted to come to Delhi, and Delhi was a big god of Urdu poetry.
Sure.
तो मीर कहते हैं कि दिलो दिल्ली दोनों अगर हैं खराब, दिलो दिल्ली दोनों अगर हैं खराब, पर कुछ लुत्फ इस उजड़े घर में भी हैं. My heart and my Delhi may both be in ruins, but there still are some delights in this ravaged home.
Oh, I tell you, the beauty that lies in waste.
Yes.
And the way that it is described by those who love the beauty even in its waste. It's incredible.
Talking about waste, Sarthak, there's this whole genre in Urdu poetry called Sheher-e-Ashob or Sheher-Ashob,
Okay.
which literally means the ruination of the spirit of a city.
Oh, wow.
So in this genre, actually almost all Urdu poets have written. ऐसी चीजें लिखी हैं कि क्या बताया जाए आपको.
कुछ लुत्फ तो है.
लुत्फ है. कुछ लुत्फ इस उजड़े घर में भी है.
कुछ लुत्फ.
आप देखिए उजाड़गी का लुत्फ.
बिल्कुल.
उजड़ेपन का लुत्फ.
But we were talking about the zenith of Delhi's poetry circle. This was a time when everyone from a moment to Zauq to Khalib were in the imperial court, so to speak.
Yes.
And at that point in time, Khalib wasn't the court poet.
No, Khalib was not the court poet, and it's actually a very interesting story there. Zauq was the court poet because Zauq was also the ustad of Bahadur Shah Zafar.
Yes, of course.
And he was the ustad of Bahadur Shah Zafar from the time when Bahadur Shah Zafar's father was the king and not Zafar himself.
Right.
So Zafar obviously had a kind of the kind of respect he had for Zauq was unparalleled because Zauq was not a great poet, in that sense.
Sure.
He was a decent poet, but absolutely no comparison to Khalib.
Absolutely.
As long as Zauq was alive, Khalib, even though would participate in mushairas in the royal court,
right,
he did not become the poet laureate.
Sure.
After Zauq died, Khalib was appointed the ustad of Bahadur Shah, of the king,
right,
and the princes, etc. तो तब तक तो उनकी रसाई नहीं थी.
Of course.
And there's a very famous anecdote on this. Khalib and Zauq didn't like each other for different reasons. Actually, for the same reason, because Khalib thought that he should have been the poet laureate, and because he was a far better poet.
Of course.
But Zauq was ustad. So once Khalib was sitting in a kind of a chai khana or somewhere, and Zauq was passing by in his palanquin because he was the poet laureate. So he would, move around in Delhi in great style and with great protocol and
pomp.
Jaise, like we have today, we have the VIPs and the celebrity culture.
Yes, the pomp.
तो भाई साहब उस तरह से होता था.
जी.
तो जब वो जा रहे थे सामने से तो गालिब ने मिसरा कस दिया. बना है शाह का मुसाहिब, फिरे है इतराता. So obviously,
and
that means you are arrogant only because you are close to the king.
Right.
Basically, you have no merit in you.
Yeah.
Your only merit is closeness to the king.
Absolutely.
To the emperor. So obviously he got very offended and he complained to the emperor. And in the next mushaira at the Lal Qila, the emperor asked Khalib. He said, "Have you said this?" He said, "Yes, I have." He admitted to the authorship of this couplet. He said, "I have, but this is not on Ustad Zauq."
Okay.
He said, "Why? What is it on?" He said, "I'll read the whole couplet to you."
Okay.
आप पढ़िए साहब. तो उन्होंने पढ़ा कि बना है शाह का मुसाहिब, फिरे है इतराता, वगरना शहर में गालिब की आबरू क्या है. So he turned the table on himself.
Basically, because I'm close to the king,
yes,
that's why I preen.
Yes.
Otherwise, what is my auqat?
Nothing. I have no.
That is the play of words.
That's the play of words.
Incredible at, wasn't it?
And it is said that Zauq understood that he has just created this verse. So he said कि साहब पूरी गजल सुनाइए. And Khalib then recited 4 or 5 couplets together of the ghazal. Wow. And then Mufti Sadruddin Azurda, who was sitting next to Khalib, he looked at the parcha that he was reading from. It was blank. This is oral tradition. It's not written anywhere, but I am a great fan of oral traditions.
And of course,
unless proved otherwise.
There's also the हर एक बात पे कहते हो तुम
कि तू क्या है, तुम कहो कि अंदाज़े गुफ्तगू क्या है. उसी गजल का शेर है ये, मक्ता है ये.
That's brilliant.
And और कहा यह जाता है that when Khalib recited this couplet of the ghazal कि रगों में दौड़ते फिरने के हम नहीं कायल, जब आँख ही से ना टपका तो फिर लहू क्या है. Even Ustad Zauq could not stop from applauding him.
Oh, and what does it mean?
रगों में दौड़ते फिरने के हम नहीं कायल. We don't believe. Blood is saying we don't believe or in just moving around in the veins.
Yeah.
I am not blood till such time as I actually fall from your eye.
That's the beauty of his. Yeah, that's the beauty of his writing.
Yeah.
And this book is about the 8 poets who sort of crafted, in a way. Would I be wrong in saying that they literally crafted the literary language of Delhi?
No, not at all. They actually did craft the literary language of Delhi, because Urdu, or what was then known as Rekhta, was not considered fit enough or fine enough a language for poetry. Poetry used to be in Persian.
Sure.
It was these poets certainly who, and if you see the language, it has evolved over these years. If you see the poetry of Sada and Mir and compare it to that of Khalib or later poets like Dagh, you will find a huge difference in language.
Absolutely.
In the use of language itself.
और दाग ने तो खैर he used Dhelvi as his noma, so to speak.
Yes.
But these people had absolutely incredible love for the city, no? And they showed it in words, didn't they?
They did, all of them. Zawq का बहुत मशहूर शेर है.
जी.
And you know, the Mughal Empire was almost in penury, and Zawq was asked to move to Deccan, where the Nizams were very rich, and they were great patrons of poetry. And Zawq refused to go, and he said कि गर्च है मुल्के दक्कन में इन दिनों कदरे सुखन.
Aha.
गर्च है मुल्के दक्कन में इन दिनों कदरे सुखन, कौन जाए ज़ौक़ पर दिल्ली की गलियां छोड़कर.
Oh. Even though there is a lot of appreciation for the written word in Deccan.
Yes. But who would leave the lanes of Delhi for that?
Who will leave?
Who would exchange it for the lanes of Delhi?
Who would exchange it for the lanes of Delhi?
Yeah.
Who?
And Bahadur Shah Zafar.
जी.
When he was exiled in Rangoon,
जी.
आखिरी शेर क्या है जफर का कि कितना है बदनसीब जफर दफन के लिए 2 गज जमीन भी ना मिली कुएं यार में. How unfortunate is Zafar that for his burial he's denied even 2 yards of land in his beloved Delhi.
And in his Kuwe Yar is the land of the beloved.
Land of the beloved.
That's what
and
it
that
is.
By the way, he had earmarked a grave for himself in Mehrauli, which still exists.
Yeah,
it's just lying vacant there. It's still
absolutely.
2 gaz zameen is still here in Delhi.
And in disrepair.
And in
so
disrepair,
speak,
yes, of course.
which speaks quite eloquently about.
Absolutely. Yes. A lot has to be said about that.
You know, but that's the thing. I mean, you know, there were poets who were fighting. There were poets who were writing about their love. But it was all happening here, and it was Delhi that was seen as the center of culture at that point of time, wasn't it?
Center of culture, center of literature. Center of everything, actually. It was.
You have a favorite Delhi का शेर, सैफ साहब?
मेरा फेवरेट दिल्ली का शेर तो वही है जो मैंने आपको पहले सुनाया था. दिल और दिल्ली दोनों अगर हैं खराब, पर कुछ लुत्फ इस उजड़े घर में भी है. But let me tell you another शेर.
जी.
और that शेर is not just about Delhi but about दिल्ली वालियाँ.
आहा, क्या बात है?
ये मुसफ़ी का शेर है.
जी.
शेख हमदानी मुसफ़ी. And the शेर goes like this कि ऐ मुसफ़ी तू इनसे मोहब्बत न कीजियो. ऐ मुसफ़ी तू इनसे मोहब्बत न कीजियो, जालिम गज़बी होती हैं ये दिल्ली वालियाँ. अब देखिए, this completely defies translation.
टूटे, हाँ, मतलब टूटे दिल की बात जो है, sometimes you can't translate it. Yes. I mean, the juice of.
But I'm pretty sure that all your listeners have not just understood this, but have also gone through this
experience as well. Absolutely. Yes. And you know, this lovely little creeping in of the Devanagari and the rusticity Kijio was.
So this is how language has evolved.
Yeah.
Kijio. By the time Khalib comes, nobody would use Kijio.
Absolutely.
Kijiye.
Saif Saab, of course, you know, there was actually a sea change in languages from Mirza Sada to Dagh Dehlvi, who, as you told us, passed away in 1905. Is what you were telling us. You wanna tell us? You want to delineate that picture a little?
Yes, sure. Let me just give you an example. Sada was born in 1713, and by the time he became a well-known poet, it was say the mid 1700s, because he was very young when he became well known. अब सौदा का आप शेर सुनिए and just see the language that is being used.
जी.
ये सूरतें इलाही किस मुल्क बस्तियां हैं. बस्ती की जगह लिखा है कि किस मुल्क में बस्ती हैं, इसकी जगह लिखा है किस मुल्क बस्तियां हैं. ये सूरतें इलाही किस मुल्क बस्तियां हैं, अब देखने को जिनके आंखें तरसतियां हैं. अब बरसात का तो मौसम कब का निकल गया पर, बरसात का तो मौसम कब का निकल गया पर, मिशगां की ये घटाएं अब तक बरसतियां हैं. The season of rains, the rainy season has passed away a long time ago, and yet the clouds of her eyelashes are still pouring down.
मतलब
तो बस्तियां हैं, तरसतियां हैं और बरसतियां हैं, इस तरह से मस्तियां हैं, इस तरह से.
जी.
Now see, after 150 years, almost 150 years, 130 years, look at the language that Dagh uses. कि खूब पर्दा है कि चिलमन से लगे बैठे हैं. This is the language we use today.
बिल्कुल.
खूब पर्दा है कि चिलमन से लगे बैठे हैं, साफ छुपते भी नहीं, सामने आते भी नहीं, और उजराने में भी है और बुलाते भी नहीं. She hesitates to come to me and she doesn't even call me either. उजराने में भी है और बुलाते भी नहीं, बाइसे तर्के मुलाकात बताते भी नहीं. And she doesn't even tell me the reason why she can't meet me. Why she has terminated this relationship.
So nuanced, so much more nuanced, so to speak.
I mean, I think it's nuanced from the perspective of contemporary poetry.
Yes.
But in those days, I'm sure Bastiyan and Tarastiyan would have been equally nuanced for those days.
Absolutely. Yes. And also, I think we've spoken about rivalries, but there was also immense respect for each other as well.
Absolutely.
You were telling us about the
Khalib, a person so aware of his expertise as a poet, of his greatness as a poet. Khalib was such a person who was very. अब Khalib का आप शेर अपना शेर है ना Khalib का कि वो है और भी दुनिया में सुखनवर बहुत अच्छे कहते हैं कि Khalib का है अंदाज़ बयां. और this man tells Momin, give me this one share of yours and take my whole divan. I am ready to exchange my entire divan for this one share. शेर क्या है Momin का कि तुम मेरे पास होते हो गोया जब कोई दूसरा नहीं होता. You are with me as if when there's nobody else. And now there are at least 9 or 10 ways in which this share can be interpreted.
Absolutely.
So and Khalib says, just give me this share, take my entire divan. तो इस तरह की भी थी. और then Khalib says about मीर कि रेखते के तुम ही उस्ताद नहीं हो Khalib, कहते हैं अगले जमाने में कोई मीर भी था. And Zauq says about मीर कि ना हुआ पर ना हुआ मीर का अंदाज नसीब. Zauq यारों ने बहुत जोर गजल में मारा.
We tried very
hard, but we just couldn't reach that stage, that style.
और गालिब की क़यामती के बारे में भी था
कि हाँ वो भी है साहब. हाँ बिल्कुल वो भी है कि और गालिब का ये भी है साहब. Bedil, a lot of people say that Khalib was extremely influenced by Bedil, who was a Persian poet.
Ji.
Khalib, also what also must be known about Khalib is that his Urdu poetry is only about 1/10 of his Persian poetry.
Right.
And still he is known as the greatest Urdu poet of all times. If he had written more in Urdu, imagine where he would.
Absolutely.
Anyhow, so Khalib says about Bedil कि तर्ज़े बेदिल में रेख्ता लिखना. Writing Urdu. Rekhta is the old name for Urdu.
Absolutely.
Writing Urdu in the style of Bedil. तर्ज़े बेदिल में रेख्ता लिखना असदुल्लाह खां क़यामत है. Well, it amounts doomsday. It's impossible.
खत्म है.
बिल्कुल. तो इस तरह का बिल्कुल they had great respect for each other.
And of course, conversations with Saif Mahmood can never end, but old father time marches on. So
yes.
The fact is that beloved Delhi, a Mughal city and her greatest poets, is also out with a new edition very soon.
It will be out in a new edition very soon. It's also already been reprinted 3 or 4 times. So now I thought a new edition with a new map of Delhi, some new pictures also, some new information, and an exhaustive map of Delhi showing the places where these poets were born, where they lived, where they died, where their haunts were, where the libraries were, etc.
Absolutely. Hangout zones, hangout zones of the greatest poets.
We do a walk. Next time you should look us up with Suhail Hashmi.
Of course.
We do a walk on based on this book. It's called the Miro Ghalib ki Dilli walk.
Oh, that's So if you want to put the mind and the feet in action, you might want to check that out. And of course, the book is called Beloved Delhi, a Mughal city and her greatest poets. A book to dream with, a book to conjure dreams with, by the absolutely incredible Saif Mahmood. Saif Saab, as usual, this has been wonderful as a conversation. So thank you
very very much. I hope we can have more conversations of this kind because सितारों से आगे जहाँ और भी हैं, अभी इश्क के इम्तिहान और भी हैं.
So yes, this examination of the poetry of Delhi is over, but more to come after this short little break. So please stay with us, won't you?